This hour is brought to you by Sweetland Waste and Removal Service, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Well, coming along and welcome aboard to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you here on this Tuesday, November 5. It's election day, so get out and vote. Hope you're having a great week. Jim Coyle with you as always here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Jake's at the wheel, keeping things on the track. Another big program on tap today. It's a Chronic Tuesday. That means Chronic Hoosier joins us as always. Looking forward to that visit. Nick Baumgart from Indiana Rivals will talk to us as well as it's game day. And a little added bonus as the Todd father makes a special game day appearance. Todd Leary joins me as well here shortly on Indiana Sports Beat as Indiana opens up the basketball season tonight against Western Illinois. The Leathernecks. Great team mascot name, man. That's just one of my favorites. The Leathernecks of Western Illinois. But the basketball season gets underway tonight. Looking forward to that and seeing what this Indiana basketball team is going to bring. Of course, they're going to be without Devontae Green. They're a little thin in the backcourt, so I think we're going to see a lot more front court action tonight. We'll talk about all that with Todd when he gets on here with us. But this team, this is going to be a year for Archie, man. He's got to get things going. This team needs to get off to a good start. Of course, that should not be a problem with some of these preseason teams that they're playing is before they life gets real when they head up to New York to take on UConn. But fortunately, we're joined now by the Todd father, Todd Leary. Todd, how are you, man?
I'm great. How you doing?
I cannot complain. It's a great day. It's game day, so that's always good, right?
Well, it's been a long time coming since, last March. But, yeah, I know basketball idiots and nuts like me and you, we look forward to this day kind of like when Christmas is over, like when the season was over last year, we just wait for the beginning of the season. And so, yes, I'm super excited about today.
Yeah, college basketball starts, man. College football and basketball are absolutely my two favorite sports to follow. College basketball takes number one for me. But, college basketball is back. Some big games tonight, of course. Indiana is the game that we're going to be following most closely of all, the Western Illinois. The Leathernecks, Todd. What a great mascot name. The Leathernecks.
It's a good one. There's no doubt. It's a good one.
If you're on a team that's called the Leathernecks, you can't take any crap from people.
Yeah, you just got to be a badass. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, there's a lot of Indiana connections to this team, this Western Illinois team, though. Their coach, Billy Wright, he was a 1992 Indiana All-Star at Richmond High School. And he's got a couple players on here that are from Indiana. His best player, Kobe Webster, is from Park Tudor. He averaged 17 points a game last year, shot 41% from behind the line. Zion Young from Maryville Andrean, and I think it's Anthony Jones from Speedway. So a little bit Indiana flavor on this team.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's kind of it's almost become a cliche statement and just kind of a fact that Indiana basketball is, high school wise, Indiana basketball just produces so much talent. And I think that is proven time and time again when you get coaches that end up going to other schools and other states and outside of the area, but they're from the state of Indiana or they played basketball here in high school, how much they come back here and recruit. And I think that's definitely a testament as to, the quality of when you take basketball players that are, you take a basketball team and you have 12 players on it, in the state of Indiana, players, 1 through 3 or 4 are probably your best players. And then players, if you took players 4 through 9 on an Indiana basketball team, high school basketball team versus players 4 through 9 on a team from South Carolina or Texas or somewhere like that, the quality of player that you have and the basketball IQ that those players have is so much bigger and higher. And that's why you see when people say the depth of Indiana high school basketball is so deep, it's not necessarily the guys that are ranked in the top 100 across the country, but it's truly, how deep those teams are when you get guys that, maybe athletically aren't the greatest player in the world, but they know how to play, or their parents played and things like that. And they understand the game. And that's something you don't see. I mean, I give you a good example is when I used to do the radio with Fish, when we would play at Minnesota, one year, I went to their, hyper building or where their on campus students play. And to just go in there and see the level of play that was in there was embarrassing. Like, I felt so bad for them because people just didn't have a clue how to play. You go into the hyper at IU or I forget the name of the place, but the new center that they have there now, you go into those places and play, you see some kids that can play, like legit play. And that's a testimony to how deep, the state is and comes with coaching and the youth programs and all that. But I know I've given you a long-winded answer. But, yeah, there's definitely ties to Indiana. And there's no surprise that he would come back and recruit the state of Indiana, even though he's coaching in Illinois.
Yeah, we'll see this throughout the Big Ten season, Todd. I mean, when Ohio State comes, when Michigan State comes, when Michigan comes, when Iowa comes, when Northwestern comes, these teams all have kids from Indiana on those rosters.
Yeah, and it's kind of like what I was saying. Yes, that's definitely going to be the case at those big schools. You're going to get, the top kids are going to be recruited from Indiana. But I think you're going to see more of it with like the Western Illinois. And if you went and looked at the rosters of, teams like Belmont and places like that, I mean, look how many kids are from the state of Indiana, but they weren't ranked in the top, they might not have even been Indiana All-Stars. I mean, they definitely weren't Indiana All-Stars, and they weren't ranked in the top 25 in the state even. But, the coaches see value in having those kids on the team, and it just proves year in and year out how deep Indiana high school basketball is. And it's just, obviously we're proud of it. We're from the state. We live here. We lived it. And, it's a nice thing to be a part of, and seeing guys like Billy come back in here and get to play in Assembly Hall. I mean, I know it's a good experience for him. I know he'll be excited about it, but I know he's not there to just show up. He'll be there to try to shock Indiana fans and the world with a big win here for his program.
Absolutely. And tonight kicks off the season for the Hoosiers, and they're a little light in the guard department, Todd. The backcourt a little dinged up. Devontae Green, their best three-point shooter, will not be available. Rob Fennessy's been a little ailing with that abdominal issue, and he's their only point guard. So what's it like when you got to take a team to open the season, no less, and insert somebody into the point guard slot when that's not the position they normally play, which would fall to maybe Al Durham or possibly Armand Franklin?
Yeah, it gives the younger guys, Franklin, an opportunity that maybe he wouldn't have if everybody was healthy, to get some experience and get some, quality minutes in there. And, they'll make do. Not having Fennessy, we know what Fennessy brings to the team. Like, I think I beat it to death on here and saying how impressed I am with him and just not his game alone, but how he just controlled himself and handled himself as a freshman and never really got flustered a whole lot and just did a great job all year long. So there's definitely a loss in not having him out there on the court. They won't be as good as they, I think that we'll see them, even if he does play quite a bit. He's not 100% and he's not practiced at 100%. And that's a huge, huge factor. As a player, you never when you can't go game speed or as hard as you can in practice and run the plays as hard as they need to be run, on a consistent basis, you're just not at that level. And you'll get to that point. It takes a little bit of time, but not being able to practice is a big factor for them. And hopefully they can all get healthy and get to the point where they're all playing well together and can practice together.
Got a question into the show from Bill. Will there be after the game show tonight with Todd Leary? That's a great question.
You cut out on me. What was the question?
Will there be an after the game show with the Todd father tonight, Todd Leary? What a great question.
I'm just kidding. I just wanted to hear you say it again. Yeah, of course there will be. Is it game day? Then there's an after the game show. Come on, man. Of course there will be.
Absolutely. Live tonight from the Tap here in Bloomington. We're going to be after the game with Todd
we're
and
excited
myself.
about the Tap. We scouted that place out last night, and we are super excited about being there tonight. I know that.
Yeah, so if you're in the Bloomington area, come out, sit in if you'd like. Otherwise, you can catch the show. We're going to be on Facebook Live across multiple platforms, so you'll have no problems finding us, that's for sure. But you can start on Indiana Sports Beat's Facebook page to find it. But it's going to be on the Hoosier Nation fan page, Indiana basketball fans, those fan pages, you can find it as well. So you shouldn't have any problems finding it tonight. But after the game with Todd Leary, the Todd father, will commence immediately after the game's over, man. So looking forward to that and kicking off the season. We still have Todd?
Yeah, you cut out on me again, and that time I'm not kidding. You did cut out on me, but I can hear you now.
I'm just saying, looking forward to kicking off the season, man.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. I am, like I said earlier, I'm a basketball nerd, so I'm super excited. I do love college football. You and I have the exact same feelings. College sports are the best to me, and so college football and basketball are awesome. I love college football. It's a fun thing to get geared up for all week, but really for me, it's just getting yourself in tune for basketball season. And I love basketball season, and there's some unbelievable games tonight. I know the Hoosiers are the big deal for us, but there's some big national games on tonight that I know a lot of people are looking forward to watching, including you and myself.
Yeah, I can't wait. There's the big K, of course, number 1 versus number 2, Michigan State taking on Kentucky. Do you realize, I didn't know this. This is only the second time a kickoff game involves number 1 and number 2. I know you don't know the other time.
I do not, definitely.
I didn't either until I read it yesterday. But 1975, UCLA and your Indiana Hoosiers kicked the season off. Ranked number 1
really?
And number 2. Yes.
Huh. That's an interesting little tidbit to know. But yeah, obviously I'm going to say either they lucked into it or they planned on scheduling this. Is this a 1, 2, 3, 4 thing? It's going to be every year. They won't know who the teams are until the polls come out, or did they just luck into having 1, 2, 3, and 4?
I think they just lucked into it. I believe but it's not hard to do when you're having those teams every year, because for the last several years those teams have all been in the mix every year for those top spots. Yeah,
I mean you follow it in the offseason closer than I do. Why is Michigan State ranked number 1? Like that was a surprise to me, but I'm not saying it's inaccurate. That's a surprise to me. Why are they number 1?
Well, Tom Izzo does a tremendous job of recruiting, as you know, and keeping that talent. And they've got a lot of guys back. Cassius Winston, I mean, they're just solid. They didn't lose much, and they're just so well coached on top of that. But not losing players,
but was a big thing. They're also the team that always loses a game in November or December. I mean, they always lose a terrible game they shouldn't.
Always.
So I'm just at the end of the season. That's why I do believe Tom Izzo is one of the top, 2 or 3 coaches in the country, if not the top coach in the country, because you can watch his team from the beginning of the season and the end of the season, and almost without exception, every single year, they are so much better at the end of the year. And that's players getting better, but it's coaching, and it's his input is definitely the imprint he puts on that team is impressive every single year. And, that's why it just kind of surprised me if they're ranked number 1 to start the year. But you're right. Cassius Winston is, I kind of had forgotten who their roster was, but all you really have to do is say him, and he's like that Magic Johnson guy. He will lead that team, no matter what his players are around him. He's kind of like, he's like an Aaron Rodgers or a Tom Brady. Like, he's going to take what's around him and he's going to make them better. And that's a guy, it's just fun to watch from my perspective, enjoying college basketball and the point guard position especially. He's just a fun guy to watch. So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense with him being there back there this year.
And you're right. They always are peaking around March is what you have to be a championship pedigree.
Yep, no doubt about it. And that is I think that as much as anything is a sign of your coach, having a process and a philosophy and a system and everybody buying into it. And, maybe the younger guys don't get it to start the year out, but by the end of the year, everybody believes in it and is going 1,000,000% in the same direction. And that's a big factor, as we all know.
Well, it's here, man, and I'm excited, looking forward to it. And, of course, tonight begins the second season of After the Game, The Todd Father. We're going to be live from the Tap on the square in Bloomington, man. I
can't wait.
Come on out if you want to come out to the Tap, if you're not familiar with it, on the corner of let's see, that would be the southwest corner of the square, I think. But
Sounds good.
Yeah.
You'll find it. You get to the square, you'll find it.
Yeah, just drive in a circle around the square and you'll find it. Todd Father joining us. Can't thank you, man. Can't thank you enough for tonight.
All right, buddy. I'll see you in a little bit.
All righty. There's Todd Leary, the Todd Father. Tonight, like we said, the second season of After the Game starts. We're coming to you live from the Tap immediately after the game. So looking forward to that. As Indiana kicks Western Illinois, it's at 7 o'clock on BTN Plus. And then you can catch us afterwards on Facebook Live. We got a lot more coming up here. Of course, it's a big day. It's game day. No better person to have up next than Chronic Hoosier, because it's a Chronic Tuesday. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming back with more from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is A.J. Moyer.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
You're on the line with Jamal Meeks, former Indiana Hoosier, number 23, 1992. And I'm on the beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, of course, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this Tuesday, November 5th, Election Day. Make sure you go out and vote. Not a lot going on locally, I don't think, but the rain's falling a little bit. Joined now by one of our absolute favorites. It wouldn't be a Chronic Tuesday without Chronic Hoosier. Chronic, how are you, man?
I cannot be better. It is Election Day, which means the local schools are off, so that means I got to take a day off, spend some time with my kids, a little sleep in, a little extra coffee on a rainy morning like this. It's a great day. Hoosiers are 7-2 in football. Soccer team just brought home some hardware, their 16th conference title, and it's officially basketball season in Indiana. So my world is right as rain.
Yeah, let's a couple of things to talk about. You just mentioned soccer. Man, I don't know if people understand the difficulty of winning this Big Ten championship because they win so many. But they lost. They had 14 new faces this year. I think there was a time where they were starting 7 freshmen. And there is the reigning national champion in the Big Ten Conference, and it's not Indiana, but Indiana is the one that ends up with the Big Ten title again.
No, this is probably, I don't think there's probably to it. I think this is pretty clearly Coach Yeagley's finest season. And he had to replace, talk about all the guys he lost, all the new guys that came in. You got 10 starters that were new to those roles this season. As you mentioned, the Big Ten Soccer Conference is it's just packed with a lot of talent right now. I mean, obviously the Maryland Terrapins wear the crown. But, there's a lot of really good teams top to bottom. It turned out, it came down to the final day with Indiana battling Penn State. Hoosiers had the lead, but they had to bring it home. They had to finish out strong, and Penn State was able to do what they had to do. But fortunately, Indiana was able to find the back of the net on the penalty kick up in East Lansing on a game that was not an easy game to play in. That's one of the challenges of Big Ten soccer with our northern proximity. As far as conferences go, you take a road game in a place like East Lansing that's had all sorts of rain come through it, kind of like we did down here. Kudos to the boys, kudos to the staff for going into a not the most ideal environment and taking care of the business and bringing home another conference title. Indiana's 16th in 29 seasons of Big Ten sanctioned soccer. Incredibly impressive.
Absolutely, and then on top of that, women's basketball, they had an exhibition against McKendree College on Sunday. I had my daughter Kylie with me. We went out there. They absolutely, and I know it's a lower level, but my gosh, they did what great teams are supposed to do. They destroyed McKendree College. They had 7 players in double figures. Bindu Yeli didn't even play. This is a complete team for Terry Morin.
No, this is 24th ranked Hoosiers. Coach Morin's got the squad back in the national rankings. This is going to be, I think, a really, really special season for that group. They do have a complete team, front to back, top to bottom on that roster. She's just rolling out all sorts of talent. You got a pair of Indiana Miss Basketball winners on the roster, which was something effectively unheard of until recently. I'm really excited to get into Assembly Hall and see just exactly what the future holds for the girls. The ceiling is the roof for these ladies. I think it's going to be a really fun squad to watch, and I will sing it till the cows come home. It's one of the better family environments in all of the state, all of this region, to get into Assembly Hall for a women's game. It's a great crowd, but you still got a little room to move. General admission seating, so you get rewarded for getting there early. You can get the family right on the floor. Right behind the bench, and watch those ladies do their work.
Absolutely, and then on top of that, now we've got the football program standing at 7-2. Like you said, we're not worried about going to a bowl. It's what bowl they're going to end up in, and this team, I think, can win no less than 8 games. Purdue lost their backup quarterback, and I really think that this team can potentially knock off Michigan. I think going to Penn State, which they have a bye week this week, next week is at Penn State. That's a tough ask of anybody. That's a top 5 team on the road in a 100,000-seat stadium on a team that is fighting for a national playoff berth. So I think that's going to be a tough ask, but this Hoosier team is already exceeded expectations of a lot of people, and they're not finished.
No, and I think it would be wise to remember the Michigan State matchup highly vaunted defense going into it. Difficult environment to play, not quite as profound perhaps as what Happy Valley provides. But I think I'm heartened by the memory of seeing a team go in there and really play fearless football. And at a time when I don't think anybody else outside of that locker room really believed they were capable of playing that type of a game. I do think it's going to be forego placing a bet on that game, but I would not be the least bit surprised if Indiana goes in there and maybe shocks some people. I expect it to be extremely competitive, and I think it's a great opportunity to get them set up for what would be the biggest upset in the Tom Allen era if they were able to beat the Wolverines here in Bloomington that following weekend. And keep in mind, too, if there were ever a trap game or a trap opportunity for Penn State, they got Minnesota this weekend, who's also undefeated, and I guess this is going to be where we really get a sense of who Minnesota is this year. But following our visit, Penn State's effectively looking at the East Division championship game versus Ohio State. That's likely going to be the play-in for who goes to the conference championship game. So, maybe a little luck, maybe the Nittany Lions don't give Indiana its full due as far as that week of preparations. But I think it's a great opportunity for Indiana this week to get back into the film room, to clean up some of the stuff we've seen so far. Most importantly, to get some guys healthy and ready to make that final stretch. We're 3/4 of the way through the season right now. I think by all accounts, just tremendous success for Coach Allen and his group. But I think it would be folly that we're just looking at perhaps an 8-win regular season. I think these guys very much believe that 9 wins plus is in the cards for them. They're hungry. They're motivated. They're playing some of the most connected football we've seen from an Indiana team in a long, long time. And it's just been an absolute thrill to watch this ride.
Absolutely. Excuse me. Absolutely. And you mentioned that about a potential trap game for Penn State. I think Michigan's in the same situation. I think they have Michigan State the week before Indiana, and you have Ohio State for them the week after. So yet back-to-back situations against those teams.
Yes. It's ideally, I think, if you could pick who they were playing us around, it sets up. And I don't know that it's necessarily as common as people think, but it's certainly something that I think undeniably happens, particularly when you have teams that are looking for a chance to go to a championship game. So we'll see. And I'm not betting on it. But at the end of the day, I'll tell you what, bet on these Hoosiers. This was the fourth game this season that Indiana has not allowed a touchdown. You talk about all the youth that Todd Yeagley's dealing with. It's been resounding success for the football team, the way they've been able to get a lot of these young guys kind of keyed in together, how they've been able to gel. The takeaway is absolutely critical, something that I think Tom Allen will till the day he dies hang his hat on with his defenses, and they've left a little bit to be desired so far this season. So to come out early on against Northwestern and just put their foot down and put a stop to anything Northwestern was trying to do offensively, which, by the way, that is one putrid offense. But you know what? I'll take it. It's not like everybody didn't have the same opportunities at the beginning of the season. And just credit to the coaching staff, both offense and defense. Because, I was looking back and trying to figure out how exactly we got to where we are right now. You look at your rosiest of rosy predictions at the beginning of the season, and I think this was everybody's moonshot to be 7-1 at this position. And, just trying to comprehend exactly what it would take. Obviously, the quarterback position with so much questions early on, and then you throw in the addition of Penix's injuries throughout the season, the way Peyton Ramsey's been able to step in. But I think even further than that, the way the offensive line, I think probably the most impressive part. We knew there's going to be a ton of talent on the outside, and they've certainly lived up to their billing with this receiving core. But huge credit to that offensive line for being able to give the quarterback the time that they need to make these throws, to being able to establish the running game a little more confidently and effectively as the season went on. I think that probably more than anything. Usually that run blocking is something that you either have or you don't. and you usually see it early and often, and then it continues, often wanes throughout the season. So to see a running game be able to pick up steam as the season goes on, in spite of some injuries, I think it's a huge testament to what they've been able to achieve offensively under a new offensive staff.
Yeah, I got to give a ton of credit to this offensive line, this patched-up offensive line that has allowed the least amount of sacks in the Big Ten this year, which is a kind of an unbelievable stat considering going into the season, there were a lot of questions. We didn't know how the line was going to be. Then all of a sudden, you lose Coy Crunk, you lose Hunter Littlejohn for a little bit. Steven Stepanak was out for a game. It's like, oh my gosh. And they have not missed a beat. They're plugging in some freshmen in here. Man, you really got to take your hat off to this offensive line and Coach Hiller.
Oh, no, absolutely. And, even further than that, you can extrapolate how well the quarterbacks have come to develop a sense of where the pocket is in real time, where the release points are, where they need to roll out to in order to buy themselves some additional time. And, even further credit to Kalen DeBoer for drawing up some plays that aren't going to keep them sitting ducks in the pocket for too terribly long, letting them get the ball out of their hands, giving them a number of options that allow for some really quick fire passing to keep the quarterbacks out of harm's way. I think all the way across the board, though, you look at the way in which that line's been able to protect, has been able to block. It's just been, it's probably been the linchpin for the offensive success this season, because you can have the best quarterback in the country, you can have the greatest receiving core in the nation, but if those guys don't have time and space to operate, none of that matters, and it all starts up front with the line. And like I said, they've continued to improve as the season goes on, so I'm really curious to see where their ceiling's going to be and just how far they can take this team.
We'll certainly see. Absolutely. Tonight, Indiana basketball makes its triumphant return. The season opens up against Western Illinois. Hoosiers here at the Simon Scott Assembly Hall. They'll be without Devontae Green. We're not sure about Rob Finney. He's a little dinged up, but they're going to be slight on the backcourt. I don't think it's going to matter in this game, obviously, but we're going to get a chance to see what possibly Armand Franklin can really do as a freshman. We know he really shined in the scrimmage. He shined in the exhibition game. Trace Jackson Davis, these two freshmen have really impressed me because both of them have just looked so daggone ready to play.
No, unquestionably. I was tremendously impressed with Armand before he even found out that, he basically had no experience whatsoever running point in this offense prior to the exhibition game. He was forced with that duty in the final, I think it was like the final 9 minutes of the close scrimmage against Marquette. Just looked incredibly poised. The ball moved really well when he was running the offense. I'd much rather see Rob Finney handling that duty more naturally. But during the exhibition, Rob he certainly looked like a guy who hadn't practiced much in the last month. And as we understand, he actually didn't practice almost at all the month prior. So I'm really excited to see what type of form Rob's in after having a couple more days to heal up. It sounds like it's going to be something that may linger for a little bit. We get Al Durham back as well. I don't know that you're going to necessarily see too much ball handling responsibility from him, but Al's probably that guy who's got the highest work rate of anybody on the floor, offensively and defensively, on and off the ball. He is all over the place all the time. So happy to see him come back. But I think it just highlights some of the risk of this current roster construction with a limited backcourt availability like Arch has this year. It doesn't take but one injury, and all of a sudden that rotation gets really, really, really tight. Minutes start to go up. It's going to put a premium on these guys' conditioning, but as well as the learning curve for the freshmen. I think no matter how healthy this team is, you're probably going to see a heavy, heavy dose of dumping that ball down low and letting that really deep and really long front court do some work and really grind on opponents. But at the end of the day, it's got to move up and down. We got to get the ball in and out. And we still yet to see exactly where some of the outside shooting is going to come from. And obviously with Devontae, expected to play such a big role in that regard. It could be some time before this offense really starts to get its legs underneath it and figure out how it's going to get buckets. But I think with any Archie team, you're going to see them first and foremost really trying to establish an identity defensively. And it all starts with stopping the ball up top. And I think it's certainly important to get Al back on the floor. I think it's certainly important to get Rob, in whatever health situation he can maximize. Because there's going to be guys for days that they can rotate in and out in the post, but there's going to be a huge premium on that guard play, and I don't think Archie's going to let up on his expectations just because the availability is a little limited. If you're not getting the job done defensively, you're going to have a hard time staying on the floor under this staff. So, Riggs, more than anything, I'm just excited to walk into the gym again, hear the Big Red Band fire up, and take it all in with my son for another season. It's a special time in Bloomington, and I don't know that expectations are too terribly high for this team, but more than anything, as you heard Calbert Cheney say during Hoosier Hysteria, really excited to see some growth and some development this season, because like football team, like soccer team, there's a lot of young talent on this team that I think has potential to be really good. And I think it's going to be a process to get there. But one thing for certain, it starts tonight, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I think that I don't know if blessing's the right word, but I think that not having Devontae for these games that they should not have any problems with could be a blessing in disguise, because I think they've got to find a way to find this offense without that three-point shot. They've got to learn to work this ball inside, and this is an excellent opportunity to learn to do that without him, because I think it was the exhibition game, they were only 5 of 10 from 3, which was a good percentage. They didn't shoot too many. Last year, there were too many times we saw 4 of 25 nights from behind the line, which in essence is just turning the ball over a high number of times when you do that. So I think trying to find the offense within itself is something they can work on right here without having that three-point shooter right now.
No, unquestionably, and I think it's not just who's going to shoot; it's when. The one thing we saw in the exhibition that would probably like to take back, some of those Jerome Hunter step up 3-point shots. 6-7 seconds into the shot clock before the ball's ever got the paint. Those are some of the things that you saw from Justin Smith last year, and he certainly seemed like he did a really, really good job, at least in the limited minutes we saw him in the exhibition, of passing on those types of shots. There's going to be guys on the floor that can knock down some shots. It's just a matter of when you want to see them take it in the offense, situationally, when it makes sense versus when you want to reset it, when you want to try to get establish the post. So I think it could get a little funky here at first, because there are going to be spots where naturally you would expect that shooter to be spotted up and ready to fire, and maybe some of those guys are able to step into that role. In Devontae's absence, I think Armand certainly has the potential to be that guy. Curious to see where Alshot is at this point. Curious to see, if Rob is able to get his form back into shape, because it looked a little hitchy in the exhibition game when he did pull up. But no, like you said, I think it's going to be a great opportunity for some guys to maybe play in some unfamiliar roles that can only help down the season. The event situations pop up. That way, the unfamiliarity is no longer a factor for them. But more than anything, too, it's going to be paramount these guys stay healthy as they figure out a way to get this offense clicking. Because I don't know that there's really a whole lot of room, particularly when you start talking about the guards, for anybody to be taking any nicks that cost them any significant time right now. In the exhibition season, don't get beat, don't get hurt, and let's continue to get better as we get into the schedule and seriousness. And I do think this I've heard a lot of people kind of trashing the non-conference scheduling this year. I'm totally okay with it. I think this is, knowing this is going to be more of a developmental year, this is absolutely a great year to give your team some different looks in the non-conference without hanging too many L's on the record, because this is going to be a season where I think if success or failure is going to be determined by whether or not they can make eligible for the tournament, you need to do everything in your power to run the table in the non-conference, because Big Ten's going to be it's going to be a hell of a slog, and I don't know that you can count on any wins in the conference at any given time. So handle your business early on, stay healthy, and let's just see where the chips fall once the conference play starts here later on. Actually, it's not that much later on. We're going to play conference ball in like a month. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. The season just speeds away once it gets started. It's like a runaway train. Well, Chronic, thanks a lot, man. We appreciate it tonight. That game's at 7 o'clock. It's on BTN Plus. I know everybody just loves when you hear that, Chronic. When you say BTN Plus, people just like, But that's where you'll find the game. Can't thank you enough. Chronic Hoosier joining us like he does each and every Thursday to make it a Chronic Thursday or Tuesday. Chronic, thank you so much, man.
Hey, thanks as always for having us. We'll catch you guys on the other side.
Absolutely. There's Chronic Hoosier joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We're coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios and back with more right after this.
I was smoking in the boys' room. And teacher, don't you feel me? Up with your rule. 'Cause everybody knows they're smoking too loud. Hey, can I be excused?
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is A.J. Moyer.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
This is James Blackman Jr., former Indiana Hoosier. Make sure you're keeping up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat.
Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, of course, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this Tuesday game day, November 5, Election Day on top of that. Nick Baumgart from Indiana Rivals joining me now. Nick, how are you, brother?
Dude, I'm really good. Now that I got some, was that 10? A little Pearl Jam 10 coming in on the,
we're rolling hot, man. We're rolling hot. We're rolling hot.
Actually, I got to be honest. I got to keep it 100. All right. The Chronic. Don't tell my parents. I'm still keeping this under the the floorboard of my seats, 16-year-old Nick. The Chronic was my first CD, but they got me 10 for Christmas about a month later. So,
well, that's funny because the Chronic was just on with us a little bit ago.
Right, it's like a theme. Snoop Dogg, the Chronic.
Hey, man, it's game day. Indiana opening up the basketball season tonight against the Leathernecks of Western Illinois, a team with a lot of Indiana flavor. I was talking to the Todd Leary, a little bit ago also. A lot of Indiana flavor on this team. The coach was a 92 Indiana All-Star, Billy Wright, out of Richmond High School. And he's got a couple players from Indiana. But that's a team that they shot the ball pretty well last year from three-point land, man. They were, I think, 38% as a team. But they didn't shoot it a lot. So they were 296th at the three-point rate, which means they don't shoot a lot of them. So not a lot for Indiana to worry about there, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, they do have a little Indiana flavor. Got some good guards. What's the name? Kobe. I'm sitting down here to look at Western Illinois here in just a little bit. But anyway, not too worried about Western Illinois. Really concerned about IU. But, it'll be fun. It's like the earliest game day ever, November 5th. I mean, I don't think we've I was looking back through recent history, and it kind of seems like they've moved college basketball up a week. So, yeah, man, it's exciting. Fun stuff. And you get to see me here in a little bit, Jimmy.
Oh, I can't wait. A lot of pressure will be on the front court in these games with Indiana's backcourt ailing a little bit. Devontae Green still nursing a hamstring issue. Rob Finney, we're not sure about him as he has been dealing with an abdominal strain. Not sure if he's going to be coming back, but the front court, I'm not worried about it because you got Joy Brunk and Deron Davis and Trace Jackson Davis, who Justin Smith for that matter. I'm not sure if you can consider him part of the front court. He is, but he kind of stays more out on the wing a lot here, I've noticed. But rebounding is going to be huge for this team this year, especially when they're in a situation when they don't have the backcourt play right now. They don't have the long-range shooting with Devontae Green. So rebounding is going to be a key for any game this team plays.
Well, yeah, that's going to be the story of the whole year. But I think right now the way it's such an odd schedule, right? Where it's it's soft in November. You're not going to need these guys. I mean, Demezy Anderson is, he was an Indiana All-Star here just not very long ago. I mean, he is super talented. So, Indiana will be fine. Armand Franklin was incredible the other night. Reminds me a little bit of kind of like a Verdell Jones. A little more athletic Verdell Jones. But, can do a little bit of everything and shoots it pretty well. So, there's a lot of people that kind of feel like he's going to push for playing time. Like he could end up at the 3 or something. So, it's a good run for him. It'll be a good trial for him if Devontae Green has to miss much time here. Hopefully that's not the case because, he kind of, he was slow. That's what people don't really remember is he missed, to start last season. I mean, he started the season and then I think he missed in a couple games. And so, having him at full blast as you head in, because you have Wisconsin here in 32 days. That's a winnable game, but you're going to need offense on the road. It's your first true road game. You're going to probably need an experienced Devontae Green out there on the floor.
Yeah, Ryan from Whitmore Lake, Michigan, texted into the show. He still buys his CDs from the store, he says, so you're all on the same page.
Okay, brother.
But he's looking forward to a harder schedule later in the year, but excited to get the basketball season going. A lot of people feel that way. Just ready to get going as the schedule will take it up.
Hey, Jim, Duke and Kentucky are underdogs tonight. They're both supposed to lose. That's got my morning going.
Wow. Yeah. So, hey, I asked this to Todd Leary earlier. Here's a little trivia question for you. This is only the second time ever that the season is kicked off with a number 1 and number 2. Did you know that?
No.
The first time was 1975, Indiana and UCLA.
Nice. Well, why don't we do this more often? 1, 2, 3, and 4. I think 3 and 4 are playing then tonight too. Like, how often does that ever happen? So,
well, another text into the show from Tim. He wants to know who gets their first loss tonight, UK or Michigan State.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, we're definitely we're anybody who's playing.
That's a question.
Kentucky, I'm sorry, Tim. We're too biased here. I've got to. I'm right here on the river down, like a lot of folks that are listening, but I'm down here in southwestern Indiana in Evansville, and I got to listen to if infiltrated Evansville something awful. So, no.
But who do you think gets their first loss tonight? Do you think Kentucky loses? Michigan State ranked number 1 to start the season. Kentucky number 2.
They're going to get the Wildcats are going to take that L.
Well, there you go. You heard it right there, Tim. So the answer is that. Hey, did you ever get to visit him with Ray Kaufman? Another question.
No, not yet. We're supposed to set that up. And, to me, from what I've talked to, he's Trey wants he it sounds like he wants the Kentucky offer. He's holding out for that Kentucky offer. So that was something that came up this week on the message board at rivals.com. But yeah, no, he wants that Kentucky offer. He's looking for,
Then that tells me
Indiana's right there. But
then he wants to go to Kentucky if he wants that offer.
Yeah, that's from the people I talk to that are familiar with him, and we're talking about people that are like in his circle. Which there's nothing wrong with that. But. He may not get it. So, Indiana's in a good spot. I think Purdue's probably also, I just don't know if he thinks he might think he's too good for Purdue. I mean, it's kind of the vibe that I get. So we'll see.
Does that make him too good for Indiana?
I don't know. I mean, that's not, I don't know.
Well, I'm just asking, how can you be?
I've heard Mom's an IU fan. So and I grew up playing against his uncle. Matt Wren. Matt Wren was incredible at Silver Creek. But anyway, I don't, and Matt Wren went to Indiana State. So there's not really any, who knows? But I mean, that's just kind of the vibe that I get. But yeah, no, we're trying to get over to talk to him. He had a family situation that came up that day, and so we're going to reschedule. And when I do, I may text about that today, Jim.
All right. Well, make sure you let us know, man. Let us know.
Okay, brother.
A lot coming up. Hey, we got a lot more coming up, though. Hey, there's a new thing out. The LA Chargers are potentially considering a move to London. Would that be nuts?
Yeah, it's not going to happen. I mean, the travel involved with that is I don't know. Maybe NFL maybe could try to make it work. I don't think they could. I mean, you look at Seattle, the Seattle franchises now. I mean, they're constantly complaining. When's the last time, I don't know. Maybe it works. The Seahawks won not too long ago, so maybe that works. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
seems dumb.
Hey, we got to take a break. No, we got 2 more. Hey, also, so tonight, Indiana taking on a team that they're obviously overmatched. What does Indiana need to do? What does Archie need to see tonight from this team? He's not going to have his backcourt in full, like I said. So is this a game you purposely try to drive the ball, try to use your front court, try to see what those guys can do?
Yeah, I mean, you play your strength. You try to overmatch them, and you just try to blast them right off the bat. This is a game where he's in the locker room saying, "This isn't about them. This is about us." I thought we played like crap. Can I say that crap? I thought we played like crud defensively. For the last 2 weeks in practice, and so he's really challenging his team tonight. And it's probably going to be a fast up tempo game. And that's going to be the challenge when they go to Wisconsin in 32 days. Now you're talking about a team who's perennially one of the slowest teams in college basketball, let alone the conference. So I don't know, will they try to slow it down some and try to, if he anticipates it being a grinder up there in Madison, will he try to emulate some of that. I don't know. It'll be interesting to watch, that. But I would think early you'd want to jump on them and put it away. So, you don't want Indiana State to happen again this year.
Yeah, of course. And so then Trace Jackson Davis in the press conference with Archie yesterday, I asked him if Trace has played really comfortably, looked really well, played so well in his first game. But I expect him to break the starting lineup sooner rather than later. He and the answer that Archie gave, he talked about they keep track in practice and they have points, and he is the leader in that category by 100 points, which he said is not a smart margin, which means he's doing a lot of things right every day in practice. But there's no way that he's not going to be cracking the starting lineup. I think
that was your question.
Well, of course, man. Who you think asked the good stuff?
Jimbo Coyle, hardest working man in the business. Well, I read that. No, that was my one takeaway from that press conference. I didn't go. I was here.
If you'd have gone, you'd have known I asked that question.
Yeah, I know. Well, I was just, keeping it 100 with everybody, But anyway, I read the transcript and I was like, oh, this is great. This is so, doesn't surprise me. It's my man Jimbo Coyle.
Hey man, we got a lot more to get to. Nick's going to stick around. We're going to do another segment with him. We'll talk about Romeo going to the G League. Tim was texting on that, man. How about that? But stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat coming back from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios with Nick and more after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is A.J. Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Hey, this is Jordan Halls, former Indiana Hoosier. Keep up with Indiana sports on Indiana Sports Beat.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here in Bloomington, Indiana. Hope your day's off to a good start. If not, we're going to kickstart it. We've got Nick Baumgart still with us right now on this game day. Indiana hosts Western Illinois, the Leathernecks, to open the college basketball season. A lot of other games tonight as well. This one is at 7 o'clock. It'll be carried on BTN Plus, coming to you from Simon Scott Assembly Hall. And don't forget, live from the Tap on the Square in Bloomington, immediately after the game. Second season of After the Game with the Todd Father, Todd Leary, will be there taking your questions, talking about the game, recapping what went on. So feel free to jump on and send us your questions. You can send them via text to the same number to the show, 812-269-6367. But that's immediately after the show with After the Game with Todd Leary on it. Nick Baumgart's with me now. Nicholas, today is game day. We talked about that. A lot of other big games on tap tonight, man. It's a fun time. It's like the 12 days of Christmas. But it takes 5 months. It's the 12 days of college basketball. But this is day one, baby, and I could not be more excited.
Not me either. I mean, I'm super, super jacked. It was a lot of fun a couple years ago when we had Kansas, right? The first game right out of the chute. Western Illinois, I'm about as excited as I can possibly get for a 300th level team. But I'm ready to go. I would love to see like a tournament, like a mini NCAA tournament or something like that.
To start the season?
I think that would be.
You just want to jump right in, man. No
I'm
warm
crazy.
Up. No foreplay. Just jump right in.
No, right in. Let's go.
Demezy Anderson has been an enigma, I guess you'd say. Highly, regarded coming in as a shooter, coming in his freshman season, and it wasn't. He just was kind of lost in the system. Never really seemed to get his footing last year. This year's his sophomore season. He's getting more touches because they're guard poor right now because of health issues. He's someone that to me, he's got to make a move this season, or he's going to get lost in the shuffle and probably get recruited over.
Well, yeah, no, I mean it's kind of the new age of college basketball. Years ago, Demezy probably would have been a redshirt. You're talking like 20 years ago, he probably would have been a redshirt, and they would have been talking about, he's a fifth-year senior type, with a whole lot of value, right? But college basketball's changed, and it's gotten so much younger. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, but here's a guy, who's got just incredible, physical skill set, 6'6", long arms, quick twitch, reactions, great shooter, wants to play hard, has a willingness to play defense, and while he's learning, his fundamentals and his footwork and different things at different times. Can't match his physical skill set. He's a kid that just got like so much upside. It's just hard to look away from, and you just think like if you recruit over him, he's going to end up somewhere, and he's going to probably be very successful. So it's really hard to turn your back on him. And so, that's this month, if guys are down, if guys are hurt, this is a great time for him to show something. So, yeah, he's kind of a victim of the new age of college basketball.
Yeah, well, and not just that, I think because of the injury problems Indiana had last year, there's no way they could have afforded to redshirt him or anybody else.
Sure. Yeah, but I mean, that may have stunted his development goes anymore.
Do you think that's going to stunt his development? Someone who obviously needed that redshirt year but was not able to get it because of outside issues?
No. I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I think that sometimes I think what's incredibly and amazing to me are the kids that come directly out of high school, or the kids who reclassify right up a year and they come into college basketball and they still do well, and they still go on to the pros or what. I mean, that to me is incredible. Like, having played college basketball, my freshman year was just a hellacious time. I mean, it was you're playing against men, you're playing against the most elite athletes there are, and then and then this is at the division, the high major level. So, I don't think it stunts his growth. I think he can learn a lot from it. It's a great experience for him. He could go back this summer and say, whoa, okay, so this is what I need to do to get better. Like, this is where I need to be at. It's like that. So much of life, right, is experience. You didn't become an all pro legend on the mic, your first year out of the gate, and so it's a lot of the same stuff. So I'm encouraged. He took a step forward from the exhibition that I saw. So we'll see. He's one of those guys that's going to be a lot of fun to watch here this month.
And then on the other side of the coin, Armand Franklin, he's thriving. He's getting extra minutes because of this situation, because of injuries this year. And he's actually thriving in that situation and looking pretty damn comfortable for a freshman.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's kind of the thing with him. That's so impressive is that to come out, your first game, there wasn't a lot of people there, but it was more people than he's ever played in front of in his life. And, it's just a different kind of, it's a lot different shooting that in Assembly Hall than it is at Cathedral High School. So, to see him, react in that way. I mean, that's, and a lot of people would say, well, we expected that. And that's just kind of a testament to what Armand Franklin is as a kid and as a person. He doesn't get too worked up by much, and he's just pretty even keel. And, different kids get to that spot at different rates and different levels, this, but I think it's always good to kind of remind ourselves, and it's not that I don't see, I mean, there's been times in the past in the program where you've seen players and you go, he's never going to get there. The talent's just not there. That's not really the case with Demezy. So, and then on the flip side, Vermont is that's just, I think we're really, really, really lucky to have a kid that special. And we're going to see that.
We still got Nick?
Yeah. No, we hung in there.
No, we lost her. All right. Well, that's going to hey, I hear you, brother. All right, man. Tonight's game night, 7:00 at Simon Scott Assembly Hall. You can catch it on the BTN Plus if you're looking for it on TV. Afterwards,
we got a prediction. Hey, do you have a prediction
for the game?
Yeah. Like so the line's 21, right? Are you?
I did not see the line because I didn't think the line matters in a game like this. Indiana should win.
Well, no, if you're just want, it's for funsies, Jim.
I hear you. If the line's 21,
I'm taking the over.
What is the over under?
Well, no, I'm saying I'm taking Indiana to cover 21.
Oh,
there is not an over under that was posted, so it's 21 points. I'm taking the Hoosiers by. So, look, I predicted the game last time. Basically, I said 84-59, and the final was 84-54.
Okay. What's this final going to be?
Verifiable. So,
what's this final going to be?
I'm not ready to step out there yet, but I guess I could. I'll go ahead and say
it's game day. What do you mean you're not ready to step out there yet? It's tonight. What do you need a few more hours?
79-51. There you go.
79-51.
Yeah.
I think they score more points than that. I'm going to go 86-53. How's that?
Okay. Anyway, we both taken the Hoosiers to cover. So
absolutely, no doubt. Nick Baumgart from Indiana Rivals. Thank you, sir.
Bet, brother. See you guys. Bye, Jake.
You betcha. There's Nick Baumgart from Indiana Rivals joining us here on this game day edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio. When we come back, you're going to have what are we going to do? Oh, no. We got more coming up when we come back. Actually, we've got sound from Archie. Should have played that in the first segment or in the first hour. I'm going to blame Jake for that. Huh? Yeah, well, we're going to start just squeezing him out. No, I was just kidding. Hey, well, we got Archie Miller when we come back. And then later on, you have a reboot of Don Fisher to make sure we hear them as well before we close out the show. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat Radio back with more from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is A.J. Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
You're on the line with Jamal Meeks, former Indiana Hoosier, number 23, 1992. And I'm on the beat with Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Election Day, Tuesday, November 5, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. It's game day. College basketball season opens up tonight. Indiana taking on Western Illinois at 7 p.m. At the Simon Scott Assembly Hall and BTN Plus. Afterwards, make sure you catch After the Game with Todd Leary, as we will be coming to you live from the Tap in Bloomington. Our first two broadcasts are going to be at the Tap while we get our permanent residence in order. We'll be making that huge announcement on that very soon. Big announcement. We've got a couple of gigantic announcements coming. Can't tell you yet, though. But looking forward to that. Had the opportunity to sit down not just me, but all of us, the media, yesterday with Archie Miller as the Hoosiers prepare for their season opening game tonight against Western Illinois. Let's hear what Archie had to say.
We're excited. I think everyone from our staff to our players are really anxious to get back on the floor and play. We had a lot of information coming out of our first exhibition game, and have worked hard as a group to go and try and clean some things up and figure some more things out about our team. And we've had good workouts. In particular, our last 3 or 4 of them have really been good workouts, and there's a good bounce about our guys. There's a good togetherness right now, which is good to see. And I think everybody understands sort of what we're trying to build with this group is the depth and the opportunity to have a lot of different types of players impact this team as the season goes along. And here early in November, it gets started tomorrow, and I think we're anxious to play. And we're ready to go.
Okay, Zach. I guess kind of a 2-part question. One's just, where's the healthier backcourt right now? And as you think about that, Armand, the game he had, I know you talked about him after the Gannon game, just how much more have you put on him, at least to maybe, kind of get you through this period where maybe some guys are getting healthy? I know maybe point guard isn't his long-term future, but at least kind of the here and now.
Well, backcourt health has been the biggest concern here in the month of October. As we've really entered November here, as we've entered our regular season start, Robert and Devontae in particular have not been a part of what we're doing. Although Rob got an opportunity to play a little bit the other day, I think it was widely described as his real first opportunity to play, 5-on-5. Post-game, we evaluated him again. He's taken some time, and our medical team has done some other things to try and make him more comfortable, and I think he's as comfortable as he's been. And as we enter today, he's a part of our plan in terms of practice, which is good to see. Devontae is still out, time to be determined with that hamstring. He's going to take it day by day. There's no rush, and the biggest thing with him is to make sure that when he does come back, he's able to fully engage and we don't have any setbacks. But it's definitely been a challenge. The backcourt not being together, our chemistry, and that being, reality is it's probably the most experienced group of people playing together. They haven't been a part of it, so that's been a challenge. But it has given Armand, it's given Denise, and it's given Jerome and Justin to some extent on the perimeter a lot more opportunities and repetitions. So hopefully, as the silver lining is, those guys have gotten a lot more work. Armand has been, I've always said this, I think from the beginning, of him entering campus in June and entering back in here in the fall, going through our fall preseason, a month of practice and some change. As we enter our first game, I couldn't be more pleased with Armand in terms of what he's been able to handle and what we've asked him to do. And here early, he's gotten a lot of extended minutes and reps because of the injuries, which I think, again, silver lining looking back on it, we know as much about it now. Probably not if things were good. But Armand will play, obviously a heavy role here early in November as we're getting ready to get going. We have a lot of confidence in him. And, Denise, Jerome, Justin, moving into the perimeter. Al coming back, is now back engaged in practice after he had to sit last week with, a 10-day period of time where arrested his knee contusion. Bruise, whatever it may have been. So getting Al back has been a really, really nice surprise. I think Al plays a pivotal role in us in November and us getting started with his ball handling and experience being a third-year player. So me as the coach, I'm optimistic right now that a lot of these things hopefully can come back together. We're at full strength, but I think the other guys are prepared.
Coach, in the exhibition, in the first half, Jerome Hunter settled for a lot of outside shots. The second half looked like there was a point of emphasis to post him up against some of the smaller guards. As you kind of ease him back into it, where do you think he can be most effective offensively?
Well, again, Jerome, first live action in over a year. Did not participate in any games and/or practices as a freshman. So as you watched him play the other day, you saw a guy that, in all reality, was the first time out in front of fans, the first time it was 5-on-5, and you can always anticipate there to be some nervousness, some jitter, some anxiousness. And I thought his shot selection and his quickness about entering the game and what, he, kind of phased himself in was the outside shot. Be honest with you, he's making those shots. He can make those shots, but Probably more so than anything, he's going to have to get that under his belt. Second half, you saw much more physical Jerome. You saw a lot of what we see in practice with him around the basket, posting a little bit more on the glass, a little bit more. So I think hopefully you see a balance of that, and he'll be more comfortable as we enter the fray here coming in to tomorrow night. And he's done a pretty good job in practice, continue to do it. He's just got to continue to be sure with the ball. I think that's the big thing with our team, is to be sure with the ball, especially as you look at our backcourt, you look at some of the combinations of players that we have up there. They're all new, either first-year guys together or freshmen or what it may be, a sophomore just playing for the first time. It's being sure with the ball, and I think as those guys get more comfortable, they'll have more rope and more freedom and confidence. But early here, the one thing is to get in there, is to get a feel, is to not make mistakes. And I think just being sure with the ball is something we've talked a lot with Jerome about here recently.
You just talked at the beginning basically about just everything you kind of learned from that exhibition game and things you want to clean up. I guess just kind of, if you could elaborate on a little bit of that. After you got a second, third look at it, what were some things that you liked about the exhibition? What were some things that you feel like you built off of?
Well, if you look at the first half, we got off to a decent start defensively, and then that led to our offense. And then probably the back half, the last 10 minutes of the first half, we were just not very efficient offensively. And I think this team has to set the tone with its ability to obviously push the ball, but it has to set the tone with the ability to get the ball inside, especially early in the game, trying to draw fouls, getting our front court players anxious to run and get them the ball. We didn't do that in the first half. And you can kind of tell with the fouls drawn, first half comparison versus second half comparison. Second half, multiple guys really did a great job of taking their time, got the ball inside the number of guys. We started the half by drawing fouls. So that was a good thing. It was establishing the physical dominance, establishing the approach at the front of the basket, the paint was much better. So I thought that was, first half to second half. And now moving into what we're doing now, we have to be a team that really applies pressure at the rim. So that was good. Defensively, we weren't very good in a lot of areas. Sometimes you look out there as a coach and you want your system and you want your guys to know what they're doing, but in all reality, there's a lot of first-year guys or first years to the program, or a guy like Jerome who's been here for a year, or Race who's been here but hasn't played a ton of minutes. So you see some inexperience defensively. I hope that we're better as we approach the opener, and we're going to be on a quest to become the best defensive team we can be. And I think this team knows if we hang our hat defensively with the numbers that we have, that's our best chance of becoming a really good team, a consistent team. So, defensively in all areas, just getting better. And rebounding, continuing to rebound the ball. It's got to be a great emphasis for this team on both sides of the board, and we have to be able to do that. From an execution standpoint, all the little tedious things, you're going to go through each day, each week, try to get better at it, which we've done, and hopefully we look sharper in terms of running our stuff and moving the ball. I think Al and Rob both being back in again hopefully can really help that as well.
Jeff? So 2 questions. First of all, just for clarity on the backcourt, who is actually out tomorrow and who can't play?
Right now, as it stands today, Devontae is definitely out. He's to be determined. I don't necessarily know when that will be, but as of right now, that stands. That's pretty much what we're dealing with right now, is Devontae being out. I think everyone else, as we approach practice today, is going to be in portions of it or be cleared to start to move forward, whether it be full go and whatnot. So, as we head into the opener, anticipate, seeing how Rob does today and feels, most likely right now it's Devontae that is for sure 100% out.
And then second question, just on Al Durham, you talked about him being the backup point guard. He's probably going to have to do a little more at this point.
Without question. His role has really increased, and he's done a really good job with it. I think as a staff, and just in talking it out here this morning and watching, he's very comfortable in what we've asked him to do. He's got the most reps at what we're asking him to do, and as Rob and Devontae, who have played point guard in their time here, haven't been in, it's given him a good opportunity to hit the ground running. He's done a good job of it. So I feel very confident now. I wouldn't even term him as the backup. I think Al's a very, very vital piece to what we're doing with the ball. We're playing with a guy like Robert Devontae. It doesn't matter to me, but Al's going to play a lot of point guard this season.
Coach, with the health issues of the backcourt, front court is obviously expected to probably put more of an impact. Trace Jackson-Davis looked really good in the exhibition game. How much are you expecting out of him? And is he somebody that you can see breaking into the starting lineup this season?
Well, Trace, through 25 practices right now, is the #1 player on our team in practice points by over 100 points. It's not a slim margin. So he's doing some things really well for us every day. And if he does those things well every day, he's going to continue to see success. Definitely see Trace as being a vital part of what we're doing, an impact player. He's one of the best players, most talented guys on our team. He's young, he's inexperienced, but he's got to get thrown into the fire. So I see him playing, as many minutes as he can handle. I think with young front court players in particular, early in November, there's some ups and downs, that he's going to go through. But without question, we're putting a lot on him. And his energy level, his motor is the deal that you watch with him. The harder he runs, the more active he is on the glass, the better off he's going to be. The more active he is and the smarter he is defensively, the more beneficial he is for our team. He's going to get a first taste of it here coming up tomorrow where, they're not all going to be 6'10" guys he's guarding. He's going to be guarding smaller players too. So now that whole element of can you cover the three-point line, can you get back in transition and not run to the rim per se, you're dealing with more perimeter players. So he's getting ready to get baptized by fire, but very, very happy with where he's at. His production in practice is the thing that we hang our hat on, and he's been able to establish from a practice standpoint that he's able to really handle some of these areas at an elite level for where we're at. He can always get better, and he's going to, but without question, his role and what we're asking him to do, what he's going to have, what he expects to do, I think, to me is to be very pivotal.
Coach, as you prepare for year 3, can you talk a little bit about what preparing for the season in October and such has been like this year compared to, say, the first 2?
Each season presents different challenges. I feel like this group of staff that we have right now is very locked in arms and also very centered in on how this team has to play. Each season you kind of go in with an expectation of kind of the known. We had a little bit of an unknown with this group. You have 3 new players. You have guys coming off injury a year ago. You have some freshmen like Denise and Jerome who didn't play as much. And then, you're kind of hoping that your older players, Deron, Devontae, Al, Justin, those guys are your anchors, so you're trying to mesh it. But I think that what we figured out is we have a group that hopefully there's very little drop-off, which is what we anticipated being from 1 through 8 through 9 through 10. And, at given time, 9, 10, 8, 7 are going to play as big of a role as 1, 2, 3 on this team. That's what we've conveyed, and the plan has really been to allow that to grow. And development, trusting your depth, putting it on them in practice where those guys have to do it every day has been the biggest thing that we've held our hat on as a staff. And I think that we've shown that the guys earn the right to do the right things every day and come to work. They're going to get an opportunity to help the team. And I think that's a big thing here in November is how this team evolves chemistry-wise, development-wise. Is everybody on the same page? Each game in, game out, you're seeing good production, even in little minutes or a lot of minutes. So that's been good. I think from a preparation standpoint, we're very, very comfortable and confident that our system can be tweaked at times, and I think we've tweaked it. Offensively, we've tweaked a bunch. We're very comfortable with what we're doing. I think defensively, we're learning, playing bigger lineups and whatnot, how we're going to struggle, and at times being able to maneuver into a smaller lineup, which we haven't done yet, but those are things that I think we're very comfortable with. So I think as we prepare for the season, as we prepare for this team, there's been very few surprises. If they have been surprises, they've been on the positive, but each game, each week will present something different. And I'm confident, though, in this group and in our plan that we're 100% locked in, and I think our guys know that we have a ton of confidence in what we do that works.
Last question.
Yeah, Coach, how have you evaluated kind of those different combinations and lineups? Because, you want to play with depth, in the preseason games and in practice, and how much of that is going to be an ongoing process in terms of, finding different guys to play together on the floor at different times?
Yeah, that's going to be unique. It's going to be a key. As a staff going into this season, more so than anything, there may be opportunities that each game employs a first half script, more of a rotation that we're sticking with regardless of the circumstances, unless there's fouls or injuries, where we bite the bullet at times and give guys certain chances or see certain rotations work together. Second half, we've always been above the philosophy of all bets are off. In the second half, it's who's going is going to go and what's working is going to work, and we're going to stick with it. But in the first half, to be able to develop your team and to be able to see certain things, you have to figure out, and give them a chance to do that. So I could see us here early in the season playing a lot of guys early, maybe slimming that down as we go through the game, but early in the game seeing different rotations. And that could mean runs of good and bad. But I like going into a game knowing that we have 10 players or 11 players that are capable of getting in there and helping you. That's a strength. And I think we have to accept, and our team has to accept, that with that being said, there's going to be some sacrifice on that. But there's nothing more fun than winning with a group that is committed to it. You have a lot of different guys impacting the team, feeling good about themselves. So that's the positive, and that's what we have to be able to bring to the forefront as our team looks at different rotations and lineups and minutes in games.
All right, Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
There's Coach Archie Miller as the Hoosiers prepare to kick off the college basketball season. That's tonight, 7 o'clock on BTN+. Simon Scott Assembly Hall. The Hoosiers are hosting the Western Illinois Leathernecks as they get the season underway. Text into the show from Roger in Evansville asking if there's any news on Garcia. And no, I'll be honest with you, Roger, they have kept a pretty tight lid on that situation. I know he was at Marquette this past weekend. I haven't worked too hard to see what the Marquette people are saying about that visit, but that's where we are right now. And I would not be surprised to hear a decision coming anytime in the next few weeks, but nothing new that I'm aware of on that end. Hey, we got a lot more coming up. When we come back, going to hear Don Fisher, a reboot from his visit with us, as Indiana gets prepared to open the basketball season tonight. Stay tuned. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
This is James Blackman Jr., former Indiana Hoosier. Make sure you're keeping up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat.
Radio coming to you here on this Monday, November 4th from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Joined now by our good friend, the voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fisher. Don, how was your weekend?
It was about as good as it could be. Indiana wins a football game that gives them a winning season for the first time since 2007. I'm not quite sure it could be a lot better than that.
Yeah, it was a really good weekend on the IU campus. Of course, the men's soccer team secured their another Big Ten title. But what Tom Allen is doing, it's second to none right now. He's got this program moving in a direction they haven't seen in a long, long time, Don.
No, they have not. And obviously, the fan base is still pretty skeptical, I think, about this football program, as evidenced by the crowd that was on hand. I thought we might see 45 or 50,000 people there. I think they announced a bigger crowd than what we saw. It didn't look a lot different than what we've seen the rest of this season. But all that said, this is a football team that has played really well this season. They've done things that we haven't seen done at Indiana in 25 years. Obviously,
I don't want to make a big deal of it, but it's hard not to. They've done this with two quarterbacks. I mean, and almost split down the middle as far as time and yards and throw. I mean, they're almost equal in every measure right now. And the fact that they have been so successful with two different quarterbacks is almost amazing.
Well, it is. And probably the fact that Indiana's had two really good quarterbacks and you can't really tell much of a difference depending on which one's playing has been one of the reasons this team has had the opportunity to pick up 7 wins this year. And if you look back at all the other teams in the Big Ten that have had problems this season, especially at the quarterback position, when they've had guys that have come in for these guys that have gotten banged up, it has not been the same thing. And Northwestern's a perfect example. After Indiana beat them on Saturday 34-3, they used a couple of different quarterbacks in this ball game, actually 3 different quarterbacks in this ball game. And none of them were very effective. And the whole problem boils down to you've got to have a quality quarterback on your football roster. If you don't, you're in trouble. And if that guy gets hurt, you may be in trouble too. The good news for Indiana is they had a starter for almost 2 years in Peyton Ramsey, who got beat out in the fall and really didn't get beat out. It was just the upside of what Michael Penix brings to the table. And Michael Penix was spectacular and has been spectacular in every game that he's played in, i.e. maybe not so much the Rutgers game, but at least he was solid in the Rutgers game and has had great games against several other teams. But when he's been in there and he's gotten hurt, Peyton Ramsey has come on the scene, and you haven't missed a beat. And it's been amazing in that regard because Peyton's skill level is no different than Penix's, with the exception of one thing, the arm strength. And that's the only difference in these two guys in the sense of what their athletic abilities bring to the table. Both can run. Both have terrific understanding of the game, great football IQ, great vision, all of those things that you expect in a really outstanding quarterback. And Indiana's been able to, because of the injuries to Penix, bring in Peyton Ramsey, and obviously this team has performed extremely well under his tutelage. So it's been a season in which you can say Indiana's been fortunate in the sense of having two quarterbacks, but at the same time, everything else has grown too. The defense has gotten better. They're not superstar status, but they're a young defense that has gotten better, especially the last 3 weeks with turnovers, takeaways, and finishing games. And then you've got an offense with an offensive line that was really suspect at the beginning of the year, that it's even starting to open up holes with the run game now. And Stevie Scott is running much, much better than he did early on in the year. And so this football team is really on a high, and they should be, because they have the first winning season in 12 years and only the second in the last 25 at Indiana University.
Yeah, Stevie Scott ran with so much authority this past weekend. It was, without a doubt in my mind, his best performance because of how he ran. He was dominant looking when he got the ball and was gaining yards at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 yards a clip.
Yeah, I mean, the first run that he made in this football game, he looked like a different running back. I mean, he put the shoulder down, he just banged into people, he ran right over the top of them. Buck Sewell got really excited because Buck, of course, is very critical of running backs since that's what he coached when he was at Indiana under Bill Mallory for 12 seasons. And Buck has always been tough on running backs at Indiana because he wants to see the kind of running back that he had, the Anthony the Thompsons and the Vaughn Dunbars and the Alex Smiths, those kinds of players. And there's no question that Stevie Scott looked like that kind of back this week, and it really, really got Buck excited on the broadcast. So without question, this football team has grown as the year has been going on. They have played really well in the last 4-game stretch. They've won 4 straight for the first time since 1993 in Big Ten play. They're 4-2 in the conference. They're 7-2 overall, and they got a bye week this week to get healthy again, hopefully, with Mr. Penix also being injury prone at this juncture and taken out of the ball game on Saturday almost at halftime.
Yeah, they have a stern test waiting for them at the end of this bye, as the Penn State Nittany Lions will be waiting for them, and Happy Valley no less. So it's going to be one of the toughest tests that Indiana has faced all season.
Yep, no question. Their final 3 games are all going to be very difficult challenges. They play Michigan at home after Penn State on the road, and then they play at Purdue to close out the season. The Boilermakers came up with a big win over Nebraska like Indiana did the week before this past weekend. So there's no easy games left for this football team, but they are going to the bowl at some point. They're hoping to increase their chances of going to a warm weather bowl here in the next few weeks, but they've got a bye week this week to kind of rest and get all the injuries healed up, and hopefully all of them, including Mr. Penix. We'll see what happens in that regard, because he has proven to be a little injury-prone this season. He has only played 3 games this year where injury hasn't taken him out. Ball State, Michigan State, and Rutgers. He's missed Ohio State, Connecticut, and Nebraska because of injuries, and he started and left with injury in the Eastern Illinois, Maryland, and Northwestern ball games. So this is a guy that has had his problems staying healthy. When he's been healthy, he's been spectacular, but when he hasn't been, it has been Peyton Ramsey who's been just as spectacular coming in to replace him.
Yeah, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but you may not need to put those golf clubs away yet, Don. I think they may be heading pretty far south with a bowl game.
Yeah, by the time I get to play golf again, I'll have forgotten how to swing because it's been that long since I played. So I'm not going to get too excited about golf, even if it's warm weather.
Tomorrow night, the Indiana Hoosiers have a basketball game. They open this season tomorrow night after they had the one lone exhibition last week. They've tried to get healthy. They've had some guys with some health issues as well going into this season. Don't know what that's going to be like tomorrow night, but tomorrow night it's do or die time as the season gets kicked off.
Well, they play Western Illinois. It's a ball club that was 10-21 a year ago. They've got most of their players back, at least their starters and their top reserves, back from that team of a year ago. They're coached by Billy Wright, who was a coach at Pike High School in Indianapolis for several years before he got into the college coaching ranks. He's been at Western Illinois the last 6 years. They pulled off a major upset last season, even though their season wasn't what they were hoping it was going to be. They knocked off South Dakota State in their Summit Conference championship, not in the championship game itself, but in that tournament. So that was a big win for that program. And I think this Indiana Bay showed last year in a very disappointing season in which injuries played a huge part. And, of course, you don't want to use that as an excuse, but it's the reality of the situation. And now this ball club has got 3 newcomers. All 3 looked really good in the exhibition game, in Trace Jackson Davis, Armand Franklin, and Joey Brunk. And I think they've got 11 guys on scholarship. All 11 played in that game. All 11 scored in it. And I think that it's going to be, well, I shouldn't say they all played because obviously Devontae Green and Al Durham did not. But Rob Tennessee got back into action, even though he's missed most of October with an abdominal injury. So it was good to see that. Hopefully they get everybody back here in the next week or so, and everybody's practicing again so that they can start making the kinds of moves that we think this basketball team will be capable of. They're going to be big inside. The guard play is very talented, but not as deep as the front line. But nevertheless, I think this is a ball club that could be a lot better than what we saw last year.
Yeah, the one thing I think the fans need to temper their expectations on is Jerome Hunter as he tries to get back to that point where he has been. It's going to take a while to get back into game shape and all that now that he's been completely released.
Well, and Jerome, and I'm not making excuses for him, but I think he was so jacked up to play for the first time in over a year on the court in front of fans. I think he was just too juiced, if you know what I say, because he was going out there and he was bound and determined he was going to try and make a shot, a three-pointer, show people he could shoot it, and he didn't look like he could shoot it very well at all because he missed all 5 of the shots that he took. But I think this kid's really going to help this basketball team once he gets his feet under himself a little bit, gets back into basketball conditioning and all those kinds of things, because let's face it, he is a terrifically talented guy that had his whole year last year taken away and pretty much practice time and everything up until maybe just a couple of months ago. So hopefully, I think we'll see something from Jerome Hunter, but it's going to take a while.
Yeah, ironically, he's probably one of the best shooters on the team.
Right, exactly. So it will be fun. I think this team's going to be fun to watch, and I think they're going to be really good at the defensive end of the floor. And just like last year, the big question mark will be who can shoot it from outside.
And I want to give the women's team a little love. They start the season ranked in the top 25, and they had an exhibition game against McKendree College yesterday. They won that game 109-43, 7 players in double figures. Man, it looks like Terry Moran has got a complete team, Don.
Well, they're getting votes in the top 25 preseason. That's something that Indiana women's basketball hasn't ever enjoyed since I've been around. So it's going to be special for them. I don't think there's any question. They've got a team that is going to compete for a Big Ten championship. I think that's something that they've been looking forward to doing. Terry got them into the NCAA tournament last year. I think they got beat in the second round, but still it was an opportunity to get experience in that area. They've got experience on this team. They've got newcomers on this team. I think they've got most of the tools that they need to be able to really perform at a very high level. And I think Terry's got the fan base even excited a little bit about this ball club, which, you know, at Indiana, our fan base doesn't get excited too much unless they're a national championship caliber type ball club. And I honestly think that Terry's ball club has got a chance to be special this year in that regard.
I absolutely agree. They are loaded with talent. I mean, they've got their players have improved, and they were already good. Pat Berg, Brian Wise, and the kid from the couple of girls from Louisville, Jalen Penn and Grace Berger. Man, they have really improved. And I saw that game yesterday, and they're a complete team. They don't have any holes.
Well, they got the Jory Ellen girl from Bedford who's missed basketball last year, and apparently she is the real deal. I mean, she came off the bench yesterday, I think, got 15 points, something like that.
Yeah, there's 7 of them in double figures, and she was one of them, almost the leading scorer.
Yeah, exactly. So there's no doubt. It's going to be a fun year, and I think this basketball team for the men, likewise, will maybe surprise some people and be a lot better than what people anticipate. They're certainly not getting a lot of respect from the media at this point. I think they've been picked someplace between 7 and 10 by most of the media outlets that make those early predictions. So I do think that this team's going to be better than that, and I think they will surprise people.
And speaking of the polls, the football team's getting closer and closer. I think it was the coaches poll. They're sitting 2 spots out of the top 25 right now and 3 spots out in the AP poll.
Yep, there's no question. It's been a fun fall for this football program, and, of course, the excitement for basketball getting started now, so it kind of overlaps at this juncture. It becomes a very busy November, as we all know, with both football and basketball ongoing, with coaches' shows for both as well. So it becomes very busy, but nevertheless, it's a really good busy. It's a fun busy because there's a lot of excitement for both sports this year, which sometimes doesn't happen that way.
Don Fisher will be on the mic tomorrow night as Indiana takes on Western Illinois. Don, I can't thank you enough. As always, man, we greatly appreciate having you here.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it. See ya.
You betcha. Don. There's Don Fisher, a reboot from his visit on Monday. I always enjoy talking to the voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fisher. Indiana preparing to open up the college basketball season tonight against Western Illinois. It's Simon Scott Assembly Hall at 7 on BTN Plus. Afterwards, live from the Tap in downtown Bloomington. After the game with Todd Leary, you can find us there if you're in the area. Stop by, be a part of the audience. You can ask your questions. Otherwise, you can text those in to us as well. 812-269-6367. That's 812-269-6367. We're going to be on Facebook Live. You should be able to find us on a multitude of platforms. We're originating off of Indiana Sports Beat's Facebook page, of course. But Hoosier Nation fan page, Indiana basketball fans, Indiana Hoosiers basketball fan page as well. So you should have no trouble finding us, but just come down and be a part of the audience at the Tap on the Square in Bloomington. Looking forward to getting that season kicked off, man. I know Todd's fired up and ready to go, and so am I. So we look forward to bringing that to you each and every game. Our first 2 games were going to be at the Tap, and then we're moving to a different location. Can't tell you where that is just yet. It's a big surprise. We've got a big announcement with that, and another big announcement we're going to be making very, very soon here on the show. Huge announcement. Looking forward to that, man. It's some good surprises coming, man. It's like Christmas in November. So got a lot to be thankful for. Thanks a lot for joining us here on the program. Another great day. Chronic Hoosier with us, as always, on this Tuesday, making it a Chronic Tuesday. Always thankful for him. Nick Baumgart from Indiana Rivals, thehoosier.com, joined us as well with his unique insight, as we always enjoy getting to banter back and forth with Nick. And, of course, the Todd father, Todd Leary, made a special game day appearance here as the Hoosiers get ready to open up the season tonight. Make sure you stay tuned. We'll be back tomorrow with the regular show tonight after the game with Todd Leary as well. So we got it all coming to you, covering the Hoosiers for you in every facet possible. That's going to wrap it up. Thanks a lot to our guests. Thanks to Jake for keeping us on the track. I'm Jim Coyle, and until tomorrow, I will see you on the radio.
Social